What is up, everybody? Welcome to Iconic 24. My name is Kavan, videographer here at Vagaro, and we have an amazing session for you here today. But we got to get some housekeeping out of the way, all right? There have been iconic sessions all throughout September, and if you've attended 3 of them, you're going to be entered in an exclusive Iconic 24 giveaway package. And I saw the package, okay? It's going crazy. And this is going to be your last chance to get 3 in. So if you're here, you did it. And I'm so proud of you. During today's sessions, you can post any questions you have in the chat and we'll get you the information that you need. Also, introduce yourself in the chat. It could be fun. Let us know where you're from, what's your business, what industry you're a part of, and how you're enjoying Iconic 24 thus far. It might be a cool networking opportunity, and who knows, you might make a best friend. All right, I think the house is pretty kept, right? Cool. Today, we're talking with John Mosley of Popular Nobody about building a strong brand. You want to stand out from the crowd? I know you do. We got you covered. As someone who's passionate about branding myself, I can't wait to get into this. John is the owner of the Popular Nobody brand, host of our new series, Shoppin', coach, mentor, celebrity barber who's worked with Kendrick Lamar, Schoolboy Q, Rihanna, and more. And you know those names, okay? Everybody, please give a warm welcome to John Mosley.
What's going on? What's going on?
What's up, John? How you doing, man?
Man, I'm chilling, and I want to say what's up to everybody that's joining us on this iconic moment in 2024. You know what I mean? I was at Iconic last year, but hey, we here now, virtual, and we just here.
And Iconic last year was dope, right?
Yeah, it was especially for me. It was my first time being a part of Iconic and just seeing how it all flowed and just being around like-minded people and just seeing how many people wanted to elevate in their spaces through Vagaro was an amazing thing.
Yeah, man, it was really impactful to see people not only learning, but like becoming best friends with each other and like feeding off of people's energy. It was real fun. It was real nice.
Yeah.
For this session, we're going to get into branding. But for people who don't know, which I don't know how, let people know a little bit about yourself.
Man, it's still amazing when I love this part because people really don't know, and just giving a little insight. Like you said, my name is John Mosley. I'm a coach for Vagaro, a mind amongst the team for Vagaro. But more importantly, I'm a father. I'm a business owner. I do things to elevate the beauty space or just any space that I'm in. And I grew up in Long Beach, California, Lakewood, California, like right on the border of Long Beach. And just growing up, I played sports. I did all that stuff, man. And then I realized like college wasn't for me. I was playing college football and it was just like, you get hit hard by grown men and it take way too long to get paid to make it to the NFL. And you got to be that 1%. And I might've been 2%. So I was like, let me get out of here early. And so I decided to leave college and I pursued barbering on accident. I told my mother that I wanted to be a barber because she's in the beauty space. And 3 days later, I was enrolled in barber school and I didn't like it, but I fell in love with it after about 6 months. And once I fell in love with it, I wanted to see everything that I could do. Before, my vision of barbering was just being the local guy in the hood. You're in a barber shop. You want to be the man in the barber shop and you don't really set yourself up with goals and having vision to allow yourself to grow. And so when I got opened up to different aspects of the industry, I decided, hey, I could further my career by doing different things. And then that's when I got into the education side. And going into education, I won NAHA 2022 Educator of the Year for North America. And then I got into more like platform artistry and just different things, product development and looking at the industry from a different aspect. And then I found the gap, and the gap is the business side of what we do. And I think coming over to Vagaro and being a Vagaro coach and being able to now put myself in a position to help people grow their business, maintain their business, but also learn more about themselves and their business throughout the process, I think is where I'm at now. And it's a beautiful space to be in.
Yeah, most definitely. Taking it back just a little bit, for people that know, me and John are from the same neighborhood. But what was that thing? What was that spark? What made you fall in love with barbering?
Well, I've been around the beauty industry my whole life. Like
Right.
my mother, my sisters, my aunts, my cousin, we come from a beauty background. I always make the joke that I'm part of the Jackson Fives of hair. They treat me like I'm Tito, but they all know I'm really Michael. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
And so it was just that was the thing, the people, the community, like being able to on a Saturday morning in a barbershop, you're around all these great men and young men that's developing their brain, and then you see families come up and through the barbershop. And so that got me really like hooked, just being that camaraderie. Like I said, I come from a team sport background, from basketball, football, baseball. And so when you get into a barbershop, that's kind of what the feeling is. It's almost like a locker room. And so I felt comfortable there. I did the college thing, like I said, and being in the classroom just studying wasn't my thing. And growing up, I used to draw, and then I dabbled in cooking a little bit. I played piano, so I was very very good with my hands. And it was just like I finally found something that didn't actually have to do with too much studying. It was just more creativity and putting processes together and systems together that
Right.
allowed me to create this art that I fell in love with. And once I developed that, it was over from there.
Nice, man. Okay, cool. What was something that started setting you apart from everyone else, or were you just the goat right out the gate?
Nah, man. I went into a barbershop and I was amongst giants in my city when it comes to barbering. And so we had a lot of people that was afraid to work in our shop because of the talent that was there.
Mm.
And I just dove in it. And I think what made me stand out the most was that my creativity, one, my willingness to work hard, and I treated it like a profession. I didn't treat it like a hustle.
Right.
That, and then just showing up to work early, staying late, my work ethic, my drive, my vision, my passion. Once I got over the hump of what I thought I wanted to be, realizing what I could become, that kicked me into high gear. And that's what made me feel like, I could really, shake some stuff up.
Yeah, that's real cool. A lot of people kind of miss that side, and they kind of, not saying that they lack in that in that part of the industry, but yeah, you saw the gap and you filled that and you treated it more like a business instead of just a side hustle, which is really inspiring to a lot of people who are getting into this. Is that like one of the advice that you give to people when they start trying to come up, when you're like starting to mentor?
Yeah, the first things first, when it comes to being a mentor to people, one, I always find out, do we vibe together?
Right.
Because I can't be a mentor if we can't vibe together. And one of those things that we got to figure out is, can I be open and honest with you? One of my mentees, the first night I met him, never really sat down with him in person. It was us always over the phone, and I analyzed his business and his business practices. And the first thing I said to him at dinner was like, "Damn, you are dumb." And he was like, "I just paid all this money for you to call me that." I said, "Yeah." I said, "But now let's fix it. At least we know we can have this kind of relationship." And so for me, that's what it is. It's like just being able to have those relationships when you're mentoring somebody helps them see it. And because sometimes I wish that I had a me when I was doing what I was doing. And now that I'm sitting in the seat of me, I make sure I try to pour me into everybody that I possibly can to make a difference. And I'm not going to try to I can't change your life, but I could change your perspective.
Definitely. I've seen a lot of your impact with a lot of the people that you've mentor, or I've kind of seen it firsthand when we were shooting some stuff together and seeing you like mentoring like the younger generation. And it's real cool. It's real inspiring. Even inspired me. I don't even cut hair, but I'm inspired to like do better things. So let's switch gears just a little bit. So Popular Nobody. How did that come about? Like, what's the story behind that?
So, rule of branding, like you can't force nothing.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of times people make that mistake. They're trying to force something, and then they find this name and they come up with this brand name, and then they really don't love it. You're not connected to it. And the one thing that I do know is when you're looking at branding, it has to be a story tied to it,
Hmm.
and that story is your story. And so it kind of fits that personality of you because it's yours. And so uh, you got it. When parents have a baby, the baby take on certain characteristics of each parent. Well, it's your baby when you're branding. And so Popular Nobody came about was at first I came out onto the internet as the Barber JM. And that was like my name. I had this little cheesy NBA logo with the clipper and the JM in it. And I was like, yeah, this is hard. But then I realized I'm only speaking to a small market because I chose barbering. Once I put the word barber inside of my brand, I can't go outside of that now. Now I can only gear to the industry and specifically barbering. And so I kind of like scrapped it. I said, okay, I got to come up with something different. I got to do different. I got to see different. And I never really picked nothing else. And then one day I did a photo shoot and one of my partners called me. He was like, man, your work is everywhere. You kind of like a popular nobody. And once he said it, I was like, that's it. Because one, even still to this day, a lot of people don't know who my clientele is because I'm not on the internet boasting and bragging about my clients. I keep it kind of tucked to myself or my close inner circle. And that's how Popular Nobody came about. It was really the character of me. Like I don't have to be the front runner all the time. Do I want to be the front runner? Yes, but it's not because of selfish or greediness. It's just because of my leadership. And I trust that, coming from a sports background, I'm gonna take the pressure if the pressure's on, and I'm gonna win the shot. I'm gonna win the game with the game-winning shot if I got to, but I don't have to always. And so that was kind of like that whole demeanor of Popular Nobody, where I'm popular amongst so many people, and so many people see my work and see things that I've done, but nobody really knows me because I'm not really talking. And so I always like to throw it back to like, Kavan, you might know 20 people in the office, right? They all know me. When I come to the office, they see my face on things, they see stuff, but they don't really know me. You had a chance to actually get to know me. So if I can just come in the office, like, yeah, I'm popular amongst people because what they've seen, but they don't know really him. They don't know what's going on. And so that's kind of the brand right there, Popular Nobody. It's like, remain humble. And if you remain humble, people always want to work with you. If you're hungry, you're going to always find work and you're going to hunt. And that's how I am. That's my mentality. And so that became the tagline: always remain humble and hungry.
That's a really good tagline, actually.
Yeah.
Thank God I just had lunch because I'm not hungry. But even kind of thinking about that, like that concept of Popular Nobody, I feel like everyone has every industry, every subgenre has a Popular Nobody. It's like that thing where you've seen the work, you see it in movies, you see it in all these different little backgrounds of like, you've seen their work, but you don't really know that person, but you know that person is good.
Yeah. No, it's the same thing. Like, even for you, like, I never knew you rollerbladed, but to me, you like a Popular Nobody in rollerblades. Like, we done had conversations where I didn't even know it was a list of African Americans that rollerblade, and you're on that list. So it's like you're popular amongst that group, but me being me on the outside of it, I'm really the nobody looking at you like, yo, this dude is somebody over there. So it's like you said, everybody, no matter who you are in life, if you got 5 friends and you the 6th friend coming up to another 5-friend group, nobody knows you but that one person. So you popular, but don't nobody really know you. And so it's no matter what walk of life it is, there's a Popular Nobody in every group. There's a Popular Nobody in every family. There's you got cousins that you don't even know, but you know them by name, but you don't know them. So it's like Popular Nobody was a brand name that I chose that came to me on like accident and was natural, but it worked because of what my characteristic is that I walk in every day, what my human is every day.
And I really like what you were saying earlier about how a brand should be like tied to some kind of story. I feel like I see a lot of brands that kind of show up and then die out because I feel like maybe they didn't have that kind of identity, that kind of like story behind their brand. They just saw a name that sounded cool and run with it.
100%, 100%. Like when I speak to salon owners or barbershop owners, I ask them, what is their brand? And they're quick to tell me about their barbershop or their salon or the nail space, the massage place. Like, they tell me all of that stuff, but I'm like, no, that's your company. You're the brand. So what is your brand story? What is your brand identity? What made you start this company? Because that's the brand story. What happened to you? What made you feel like you needed to come up with a product line when there's a million different product lines? So it's like, that's what I want people to dive into, and I want people to understand. It's not just to come up with something and call it your own and say you're an entrepreneur. there's a story behind it. And that's what people emotionally connect to when they're shopping your products.
Most definitely. That's a super good segue into really what the topic of this whole conversation is. Super broad, and we kind of already answered it, but like what makes a successful brand identity? So a good story that you're tied to, kind of diving into who you are as a person. But what else can you say, speak on like makes a really good brand identity?
Your values and belief. What do you believe your brand is going to bring to the world? What kind of value are you adding? Are you adding value to your community? Are you just adding value to the people that's buying your product? If you're doing skincare, like, is it really helping acne? Because as you said, it's on the bottle, but does it really work? Or,
Mhm.
like, so your values and your belief for your brand has to add a good portion of your identity. Your logos is part of your brand identity because that's the first impression. So if you're making complicated logos and you're making things hard to read, they're not legible, then nobody's going to really relate to that. Nobody's going to buy into it. When I started my marketing and branding like journey and understanding it a little more, cracked fonts are not good. Broken fonts are not good. Cartoon fonts, if you create a character, you got to stick to that character. So whatever you're creating, that's what it has to be. Now you can still get a nice, elegant cartoon font that look expensive, but don't create the character that go with that font. Maintain what it is. And it's like, for me, that's what people got to understand is that, it's values and belief, your logo, your taglines, what is the story behind the brand? Yeah. That's why MTV's Making of the Band was so great, because it's like what made the brand, whatever brand they were working with that season, what made that brand, and you got to see the story behind the making of that brand. So for me, it's like all of those things tie together, and it's more or less like, hey, how can we put this complete storyboard together to tell the world this is my brand and this is what we stand for, this is what we believe, and this is how we're going to continue to move forward with the growth of our company.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy how a logo is kind of like the cover of a book or a cover of a CD. As you see it and you kind of gravitate towards a better looking logo or a better looking book. Like they say, don't judge a book by its cover, but we do it all the time, and we do it with logos. And it's cool because Vagaro has design services on tap whenever you need it. A lot of people have helped as you went through Vagaro's customer design team to create logos from scratch, and that's already starting you in the right direction. But I think before even you start asking about what logos you should like look into, you should know who you are as a person, right? And just kind of like know what your brand stands for, and then your logo can represent that.
Yeah, you got to come to the table with something. Like, I never went to a graphic artist without an idea or without giving them something to start from. Like, we all get good recipes from family members that we love, like some part of their food, right? So they give us the base of the recipe, but then it's up to us to go in the kitchen and add and whip it and do the things that we need to do to make that recipe ours. It's the same thing when you're building a business and you're building a logo. At least come to your graphic designer with some input, some ideas, and some structure to what you want, and then turn around and say, okay, now go create. Because one thing that I do know also as a creator is that it's easy for us to take people's ideas and create off of their idea without them interfering with us. We could tweak, but we don't want to have to be the person that you got to sit down with us right hand and tell us to, dumb down our creativity.
Yeah.
Because you got this one strict vision. Well, you shouldn't have came to a creative to try to help a non-creative create.
Yeah.
Nice. You know what I mean?
I always kind of say that the worst thing you can do with a creative is tell them how to create.
Yeah.
You can give them the guidelines and you can give them all the little pieces that are things that you want. But when you let a creator cook is when, you get the best dishes. And again, we're talking about food and now I'm hungry again.
Yeah. It's like that saying when people say you got to stay in your box, like stay in your box, stay in your box. Okay, cool. Well, what if the world was my box and I just didn't put a cap on it? You see what I'm saying? So let your creativity, like let it flow and come with ideas. And I think that's when you find dynamic partnerships and relationships, kind of like what we're doing with shopping. It was an idea. We got it from somewhere, and we just honed and tweaked and honed and tweaked until we came up with what we thought was a good product, which is shopping powered by Vagaro. So for everybody watching Iconic right now, if you have not seen an episode of Shopping, you should go check it out. And you never know, you might be featured on it one day. So go take a look and see what we're cooking up, because that it was something that was just an idea that creatives came together, and one creative to another creative said, hey, you take this, you take this, you take this, and let's all come back to the table with what we got. And I think that's the beauty of when you're building a brand, when you're building a product. It's one, you need an idea team, because everything that you do sounds great to yourself, but who are we? We're the person with the crazy idea that think it's going to work. And then your idea team are the people that you take that idea to and allow them to be like, nah, that don't work. What if we try it this way? So you got to trust the team around you when you're building a brand as well.
Most definitely. And what's really cool, I kind of lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry. We were talking about brands,
logos, and
okay, sorry. For what you said was that we can also go back and tweak sometimes. Like, so let's say you create something that goes really well with what you're feeling at the moment, but then as you grow and as you expand, you seem like you might need something a little bit different. Like, do you think going in and kind of like tweaking and pinpointing later on just to kind of stay with the times is a good way of kind of expressing your brand or getting your stuff out there?
I think 100% your brand should always go through an identity change, not an identity crisis. You know what I mean? Like, think about all the big brands. Target rebranded.
They really did. And people didn't see it.
Yeah, McDonald's rebrand, Walmart rebrand. So it's like, if the big companies are rebranding, why aren't you? Like, and I tell somebody, if you don't understand branding, or you don't want to spend the money on the concept of having somebody help you market and brand, look at the big brands and follow what they do. Every season the brands change. Starbucks is about to hit us over the head with pumpkin spice right now. So understand what needs to happen. And if you're building that brand, you should already have things loaded up for the forward season. So you're not working on your brand to change in the season. It's already done. You change on the back end moving forward.
Right. How important is branding in the barbering space? I know Popular Nobody is bigger than that, but in the barbering space, how important is branding?
That's branding and barbering is very important, because you got to think about it. Everybody's doing a haircut. Everybody's doing the fade. Everybody's doing scissor work. Everybody's doing the same pretty much art. It's just how you paint it is what's different. And so what makes you stand out? I think more people should showcase their shops or their salons more. I think more people should showcase the personality of the brand of the shop. Showcase yourself as the owner more. So I think it's very, very important, because you need to show that you're more than just the average barbershop next door. People can go right now. What's the main street out there where the office is?
Oh, like Dublin Boulevard.
Okay, so Dublin Boulevard, right? How many shops is on that street?
Probably like 4 or 5.
So think about it, 4 or 5 shops in a small span of road. What is making you stand out over everybody else? That's all marketing and branding. It's like you're trying to get this customer to go on a date with you. So that's your marketing. Yeah. Your branding is what's going to make them marry you, though. So it's like, when you think about it, you got to keep giving a little bit more and more to make your identity stand out, bigger than on Dublin Road, the guys that's 4 doors down, 3 doors down. Why do you choose, what nail salon? It's not because of the people in there working. It's something that they do different than the nail salon 3 doors down. And so it's like, those things matter. And that's why it's so important in the beauty and barber space, is that, listen, you got to showcase more than what everybody else is showcasing. And I do that, and just to speak on it real quick, I do that with my social media, with Instagram. I don't show you all the time how good I cut hair. It's rare that you ever see me give you a full haircut on Instagram. Why? Because it's not about the skill set that I have. It's about the emotion that I'm giving the customer. Prime example, when I cut your hair, you jumped on camera and said, I've been looking this good all day. You know how many people complimented that video just because of what you said? Because why? People buy off emotions. They buy off the sense. They can't smell your haircut, but they could see how I made you feel. And that's what I put out there. So it's like, yeah, I'm not putting out the same stuff. So anybody that's a barber listening, a cosmetologist listening, sometimes you got to take the know-all of wanting to show your work out of it and show the customer's experience. That is marketing.
Most definitely, man. Like, I feel like a lot of people choose, you see this in restaurants all the time. People choose restaurants more for the space than the food. Um, First of all, your work's got to be top notch. You got to be top tier. You got to have all your skill sets, but people invest in you more than they invest in the service. I feel like, does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. I was just literally in New Orleans and we went to a taco restaurant and people like, y'all going to have tacos in New Orleans with all this good food. But we went to this restaurant and one of the young ladies with us, she got up and went to the restroom. She came back. She said, I want to come back here tomorrow to have a photo shoot in the bathroom. That bathroom is more popular than the tacos. But because she had the experience of walking into this bathroom and seeing the textures and everything in there, she told us all, like, y'all should go check out the bathroom, right? But it's like those little things, show those elements, because like you said, restaurants, you open up a menu, you're trying to read a menu. How many times have you picked up your cell phone and was doing this with your light? But if you go to a restaurant that got a light on their menu when they open up, you're like, oh, it automatically elevate the experience. So it's like, oh, this is fancy. I don't mind paying $20 for some street tacos when I know I could get them on the corner for $2.50. But I'm over here spending $20 for the same 3 tacos.
Right. I feel like there might be a fine line between an ambiance or a hook or whatever and a gimmick. Do you think so?
Yes, a gimmick is a gimmick. And most people nowadays can figure out what the gimmick is. The gimmick only works once.
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that has a lifespan.
Yeah, you could put the same worm on a hook and still catch a fish.
True.
So there's the difference between a hook and a gimmick. The gimmick, you only gonna get me one time, but you're gonna throw that proper bait on there and the fish is still gonna come. The fish is still gonna bite. Why? Because it ain't just it's still a nice piece of bait. You know what I mean? And that's how it has to work that way.
No, that makes a lot of sense, actually. Because I was thinking about that too, because I was thinking of some of the places that I've been to, especially like restaurants, they'll have like some gimmicky thing that'll get me there for the time period. You see a lot of like places that do like takeovers or whatever, but I feel like in the barber space or in the salon space, all of these service providing spaces, you have to create things that feel more lasting or feel like the branding stuff or these hooks are things that have to feel like something that's a part of that culture all the time.
Yeah. It's like going into, like, you watching this on Instagram, and I'm pretty sure you've probably seen it too, where the guy's cutting somebody's hair with fire.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
Right? But then you go in the barbershop looking for that fire, and that fire not there.
Right.
It was a gimmick to get you to go visit that place. And it ain't gonna work. And I think that's what, when we look at it, I think that's what happens a lot on social media, where people are not paying attention to what their brand is putting out. So they're putting out these gimmicks. And then when people go for the real thing, it ain't that experience isn't there.
Yeah. That's really, really insightful. If you guys are watching this, put in the chat some places where you saw a gimmick, then tell me how long it lasted. And then also tell me a place that has given you a really good hook to make you come back for more. What are some examples? You already got into this, but what are some examples that you've seen of like successful branding or like some of your favorites?
That's a good question. As far as in the beauty space or just in
It
general?
could be in any space. I mean, the Target one is interesting because it was kind of subtle. They just went lowercase, and no one really noticed that they
Right.
had a whole brand change. But yeah, you could maybe let's keep it into the barber space now for now, or like the beauty space.
Okay, let's jump into wellness.
Okay.
Let's jump into wellness. I think Nike is a great one.
Mm-hmm.
They went from spelling Nike to now it's just a check, and you know exactly what that is.
100%.
I use the reference Peloton a lot. Why? Because you could be at home doing whatever you're doing and your TV might be on, and you could hear that person jump on the screen and say, "Come on, you could do it. Keep going, ride faster." And you're like, that's a Peloton commercial.
Mm,
It makes you want to go be a part of just this AI on the screen screaming at you, right?
yeah.
So it's like those brands do a great job at sucking us in. Nike's is that every man and every woman can achieve. Under Armour, when click clack, we must protect this house. It makes you feel like you are on top of the world and can't nothing break you because you're wearing Under Armour.
Right.
And it's like, well, that's the same dry fit that Nike got, but it just got a Under Armour logo on it. You know what I mean? So it's like when companies do stuff like that, that's the story. It makes you feel like you can do exactly what they said you can. And then you go to the gym and you try it and you can't, but you still wear it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like when I see that kind of stuff, that's brilliant marketing to me. Now just jumping back into the beauty space, you know, you see all these amazing do-it-yourself at-home color box sets, and then when you go home to do it yourself, you're not the professional that actually did that color that
Yeah.
you see on the screen. So it's like I pay attention to all of those things because it's like our job as marketers and branding and creatives is to get people to believe that they can achieve whatever we want them to through our creativity and how we present it.
And it also feels like you're incorporating this whatever into what their lifestyle is,
Yes.
and helping people feel like that they're a part of whatever this brand is.
100. Yeah, why? Emotions. You tied into their emotions. You tapped into it. Everything has a story. Every person has a story. The person that's willing to tell their story will succeed as a brand.
Most definitely. How big or important is communication to branding?
That's the communication in life is important. You know what
For
I mean?
one, communication is key.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I think it's very key. Like being able to talk to your customer base
Mhm.
is great. Being able to have clear cut communication and expectations of what your branding is great. Even for me, like when I sign up a new mentee, I send them a questionnaire so I can figure out how to communicate with them best. Is
Mhm.
it text? Is it email? Is it phone calls? Like what kind of communication do you like that's going to allow us to work in this partnership perfectly together? And I think that's why communication is very key in any part of your business.
Most definitely. And then Vagaro has a lot of good communication features like text marketing, helping you be able to talk to all of your customers even really fast, or specific customers really quickly. Everyone has their phone on them all the time. So being able to send a text message about any kind of promotions going on, any kind of updates to their cut, whatever. Email marketing is also the same. But we also just dropped Vagaro Connect, which is a really cool platform for you to have two-way messaging with your stylist or hair care professional. What do you think about, like, have you tried messing with Connect at all a little bit?
Yeah, I'm tapped in. I'm
You
logged
always have
in. Yeah, I'm always gonna be tapped in, man. Whatever we doing, I'm supporting because it's part of the vision. It all goes together. Like, sometimes our clients, our potential new clients, may feel like they can't talk to us,
to. Mhm.
especially if they're coming from like social media. They look at us as these untouchable people, these superstars
Mhm.
in our space. And so when you're able to connect with people through Connect or through, just text marketing, you're always finding ways to communicate what your brand is trying to deliver. And one thing it also shows is that you respect people's time, especially I noticed that with Connect. You can send a message to somebody and get exactly what you need to get across right there in their phones. Like you said, everybody has their phone. Nobody's really losing their phones, right?
Right.
But you'll miss an email. You'll miss a text over, if you're busy, you'll open it, put your phone down and forget about it. But, that message is going to sit and connect. You're going to get that notification. I know a lot of people hate seeing those little red numbers pop up on your phone. So I think Connect is such a beautiful tool to help us build our business off of communication and stay very communal, because that's one thing that I've noticed about Vagaro compared to a lot of other places is that we build community. And through community, there's connection. Connection builds community. So I love the fact that we have that connect. And I hope everybody watching this is tapped in. If you haven't tapped in, me and Kavan will give you a few seconds right now.
Yeah.
Go download it.
Wait. All right, cool. You should have it downloaded by now.
There it is.
Yeah, let us know in the chat if you're using Connect, because it's a really cool tool to be able to talk to everybody. And I think that some of my favorite brands are the brands that actually speak back to you and kind of feel like a real person. Even if it's AI, even if it's a machine, like I like to be able to communicate with some of the brands that I like to use and like get a response back from an actual person. And a lot of times it's not even, it'll be like clothes. It's not even I need to help with anything. It's just like, hey, is this going to come back in stock? And they'll communicate with me. So Connect is a cool way for you to be able to talk to all your clients, be able to talk to your team. And yeah, really just keep connected. Like you said, connection builds community. And I think that's a really good way of looking at it.
Think about Connect is like your own Reddit. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
on there with hair challenges and stuff like that. But if your clients are, say, on vacation and they got a quick question for you, or you got something for them, nobody's going to read a Reddit, but they can get Connect and be right there with you. And you can answer problems. You could easily problem solve. You can have your assistant problem solve. You can have your front desk person problem solve for you to help your client. And I think that's like I said, that's the beauty of it, man, the connection.
Yeah, most definitely. And speaking kind of connection, the coolest thing about, I'm switching into social media right now and how we can be connected in those kind of spheres. Like I talk to people a lot about how we can get information from all over the world really fast with social media. There's like that's the plus side of it, and there's also the dangerous sides of it. But like, what role does social media play in branding and marketing?
I think social media has played a great deal in marketing and branding, and one being that with a click of a button, your brand can be around the world. You could showcase your brand quick, and you could push whatever your brand emotion is, your brand belief is, your brand value is, good or bad, whatever you want to do, you can use social media to do that. But also it allows you to get the ROI even faster, right? Like I said, the video of you saying how much you felt without saying how much you felt, allow people to show and see like, okay, his haircuts make me feel good. I want to go somewhere where I feel good coming out of there. I want to make sure, I feel a part of whatever they got going on. So I've always used social media as a brand identity, part of my brand identity. Speak for me more than I can speak for myself. And I think that goes back to Popular Nobody. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you how great I am. I'm going to let the talent that I have, and I'm going to let the people around me and the people I impact talk for me on my social media page. So people, if you haven't followed me, please do, Popular_Nobody, and go see what I mean by that. I let my customer base tell people what they feel about Popular Nobody and Popular Nobody brand.
Yeah, because you can yell about yourself till you're blue in the face, but what it really is how you made other people feel, and they want to feel just like that. People want to see themselves in every piece of media that they consume. And so I guess seeing a client like me talking about how good I looked is going to be seeing themselves in that.
Everybody want to be a model.
Well, some of us are.
Yeah, well, I'm not quite as handsome as you, you know what I mean? But everybody want to be a model. So instead of letting your client go take that duck lip selfie in the car, won't you take the photo for them and doctor it up the way you doctor it up, and then send it back to them and say, I appreciate your service. I appreciate you coming in and letting me serve you. Here's a picture for you and your family if you want to, or even if you want to post it, but I'm going to post it. And I think even going into a little bit more in depth with Vagaro, treat them like a model. Have a model release form in your forms. So when they come in, they sign up, they know that, okay, my picture can go viral and I am going viral with this photo because I gave my stylist, my barber, my nail tech, my esthetician, my wellness coach, my tattoo artist, the opportunity to use my likeness because why? I want to be seen by the rest of the world too.
Right. Folks love attention.
That's it.
But it's also, I also see that a lot. That's especially in the salon space. They're always building these spaces to take photos, building these spaces to show off their work. And I think that's really, really helpful because I think, yeah, you can talk about how good you are until like everyone falls deaf, but your work is what's going to speak more for you, and your clients are going to speak volumes for you. And another cool thing about Vagaro is you can integrate your booking through your Instagram and a lot of your social media platforms. So people can be on your page, see a hairstyle that they like, and then scroll and book that hairstyle like real quickly. Um, it's real important to like kind of connect your work with a place that they can go and get that.
1,000%. You want to make it easy for people to shop for you, just as when I do certain things on the internet and I want people to be able to get it right then and there, I use a certain feature using AI. And we talked about this in the new Beauty Launchpad magazine we just took over. I don't know if you've seen the cover of it yet, but
Not yet. I'm waiting.
yeah, Vagaro, we just got the cover of Beauty Launchpad talking about stop running from AI. Let AI help you, and how we at Vagaro are using AI to help make streamlining your clientele base a little bit faster. And I think that's the keys to success. You know what I mean? And it's like streamline your business, make your business easy, and make it work.
Right. Yeah. And why wouldn't you want to use something to make it easy? You're already doing so much on your own already, like with AI, with Vagaro, like you might as well set some of this stuff up to make it a little easier on you because you already got to learn the new techniques. You got to know if you're doing color, you got to know all the different color mixtures. You got to know how to deal with other people's hair. Like, why wouldn't you want something to help you automate some of this process?
Exactly.
Switching gears just a little bit, what are some do's and don'ts when it comes to building your brand? So we talked about having it tied to a good story, something tied to you. What are some other like do's and don'ts that you can see?
I would say don't, as we kind of covered it earlier, don't make a gimmick.
Don't make a gimmick, yeah.
Don't make a gimmick. You want to have lasting relationships and build a brand that people are loyal to. So you don't want to create a gimmick. You don't want to be overly aggressive, but you do want to be persistent.
Right.
You definitely want to stay consistent as well. So persistent and consistent is two words that I think when you're building a brand, you gotta stay on top of. And you don't want to stretch yourself too far. I think so many people, when they're putting out brands, they're pushing themselves too far to where they're not able to accomplish the goals that they're actually setting out and seeking for their self and their brand. So I think those are the keys, first off. And then don't take advice from everybody, because you're going to end up losing a lot of money just listening to random people. Or don't sit there and think you could do it all yourself. That's big rule. Don't do it yourself. Remember, we talked about earlier, idea team. Get people around you that you trust with your visions, you trust with your ideas, that they're going to help develop you. I think is very key, very important.
Yeah, a good team will help you be able to accomplish anything, honestly.
Yeah.
That's some of the cool things that when it comes to working with Vagaro or just in life, like if you have people around you that you can trust to handle certain different things, it's going to make it's going to make things a lot easier for you as an owner, as a provider, like anything.
100%. 100%. I think like that's the most important part, honestly, is just having the right people around you that's going to let this explode and be free.
Yeah. That's very interesting, man. What's one piece of advice what's one piece of advice you have for building a brand? Like what's the one thing that you want people to walk away with?
The one thing that I want people to walk away with for building a brand is making sure that brand is true to you, true for the people, and true to what you said that brand is going to be. Yeah, how many of us bought a product that said it was going to do something on the outside of the jar, but the inside of the jar doesn't match the outside of the jar?
Mm-hmm.
So make sure it's true. Make sure your brand is tested, because that's the only way it's going to survive, is if it's tested. And to me, that's really it. Be organic. You can find ways to be original, but there's not too much originality anymore, because we're all stealing ideas from everybody and we're just tweaking it. So don't be afraid to find something that you like in a brand and duplicate it just your way.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people, like, I'm very heavy in the social media space. I feel like a lot of people will hop on different trends just because it's a trend. And the people that are actually doing well and succeed will hop on a trend, but bring it into their space. That makes a lot of sense. They'll do, like, I personally like to take anything that's happening in any other trend or any other space and try to bring it into my space with the same things. I feel like that's how you take something from other brands and build upon it, and then also try to find ways to, like, make it feel new, make it feel fresh.
Yeah, like, I pay attention to what you do with your rollerblade stuff. I love the way you do your social media. I love the half split videos, the creativity that you use. So I when I look at certain things that I want to do, if it's a certain style of video that works with, I'm gonna take from you and I'm gonna just recreate it. And I think that's what, we got to get over that hump of feeling like, I can't do that. They already did it. So what? Burger King don't care about the cheeseburgers McDonald's make, and McDonald's don't care about the cheeseburgers Jack in the Box make. It's taking that burger and calling it yours and making it yours. And I think that's for me, that's the biggest part of branding and marketing. It's like, build off of what you can build off of, learn from other brands' mistakes, and then grow from there.
Most definitely. All right, John, I think we're going to start wrapping it up there. But, like, you're a Vagaro icon coach, right?
Of course.
What's it like? What can a mentee expect from being one of your mentees?
Success.
That's it, guys. Thank you, guys.
It's just that simple, man. I'm gonna help you find success. I'm gonna pull things out of you that you didn't expect to be pulled on. Pause. And then, but more importantly, I'm gonna elevate you. I'm gonna elevate you, and I want to see. I want you to, like I said, I'm gonna test you. I'm gonna test you. Make you work. But also, you're going to feel the success, because through work, through dedication, and through passion, success is right there. Mm-hmm. So that's what made me who I am. That's what made Popular Nobody. The dedication to myself and my craft, the passion I got for the people. Because, I can have passion about cutting hair, but it means nothing if it ain't for the right people, And so my work ethic, with all three of those things, you see the success come from me. And so when I take a mentee on, that's what I'm trying to pull out of you, the work ethic, because so it's easier for us to say, oh, this is too hard for us to do. Yeah, it is hard. But at the end of the day, you can put in a little time. I work with a lot of different brands. And one thing I always say is I can't work for somebody else more than I'm willing to work for myself. So I have to pour into me, just like my mentees got to pour into themselves. And I'm going to make sure you give me that time.
Most definitely, man. Okay, we're going to put the link to getting mentoring from John in the chat. So if you're watching this and you want to be successful, I've seen it happen, where we'll get you linked in with that. John, is there anything else you want to plug before we get out of here?
No, I just want to tell everybody that watched this segment, thank you. It's always a beautiful thing when I get an opportunity to speak to people and help people. So I'm very thankful for this opportunity and all the opportunities I get. And if you like what you heard, if you want to get a little more understanding, please reach out and let me know. I would love to be your coach. I would love to help you grow your business, grow your brand, or even start building your brand. I'm here for you. And that's why Vagaro chose me as one of the iconic coaches. That's why Vagaro chose to partner with me, because they see my passion, my purpose, and my love for everybody.
Most definitely, man. Thank you so much for sitting down with us. I think everybody here got so much out of this talk, and I think they're going to get so much more when they tap into your coaching. Don't go too far though, because we have Vagaro CEO Fred Halou's keynote coming up right after this. So grab a snack, a drink, a seat you don't care about, because you're going to be on the edge of it. Okay, stay iconic, everyone.